Greetings, sir and sirettes, and welcome back after a very long break to From the Depths with me, Lathrix, and of course, welcome to a brand new campaign. In today's episode, we are going to be starting off the Glao campaign, or at least that's how I choose to pronounce it. So this is a much smaller campaign than almost all of the campaigns I've done in the past. There is a volume limit of 3,000. And I think this will be a fantastic way to get back into the game and try to just get better once again. I am very likely quite rusty at the game after my extended break, so I think this is the best way to simply start again. Once I'm more confident with the game once more, we will be going back and finishing Ashes of the Empire, most likely only one episode left of that anyway. But for now, let's just start. The game sort of crashed on me there. I'm blaming my extended break and the fact the game is trying to get revenge on me. So the campaign, the Quest for Glao campaign, is meant to be a more relaxed and strategic style of gameplay in comparison to other planets. Fights are smaller and faster. In Glao, it is important to look at what the enemy is bringing and be ready to counter it. Also, the volume of your ship is important, and you cannot build beyond a volume limit of 3,000. Once in game, press M and E to open the maps, all the usual stuff. Okay, new campaign and customize. Customize and begin the campaign. Let's go over to medium and look at our customized options. So, the first thing I would like to do is swap over to centralized material. I really don't think that the different material options makes the game particularly harder, especially when you're used to it, but the localized material just slows down the game so much, it becomes really tedious to do things, and then it becomes incredibly boring, both in terms of content and in terms of actually recording and playing the game. So we are going to go over to centralized material. For those who don't know what this means, it simply means that your vehicles are not holding material themselves. You simply have a centralized pool of materials which you can use anywhere. Things like ammo, electric and fuel are still carried by the vehicles though, so it's not like you give all of your vehicles an unlimited supply of ammo or anything like that, because that would be really unfair. So the game is still pretty much the same difficulty. It's just much easier to build in certain areas, less time consuming to do a lot of the actions. Okay, I think I've decided this is what we're going to go with. We have the resource given from the enemy a little bit lower, we have the enemy growth factor back to a standard, and we have the enemy modifier also as a standard, so everything is fairly balanced. This won't be the most difficult campaign in the world, and I'm hoping it will be quite a short one. I don't want to be here recording this episode 20 or something like that. If we can make this a short, sharp little series in which I learn again and destroy the enemy, then I will be very, very happy. So then, begin the new campaign. Apparently in this world, we do need a heartstone. In Glao, the air is toxic to your health. Your life is supported by your remote aid mobile bot unit, aka Rambot. Rambot's batteries require constant charging from a heartstone and should be placed on every vehicle you command. Straying too far away will cause you to die. Essentially, it's a pretty simple concept. If you go too far away from your ship, you will simply die. This prevents you from jumping out of your ship, slowly swimming over to the target and then taking it over. If the enemy gets too close to you, or of course if you ram it with your ship, you can then jump on board and take it over manually. You have arrived on Glao 3 weeks after the other expedition mining companies. They have come to an uneasy truce, but will not be happy with newcomers to Glao. You have landed in the claimed territories of the Omega Frontier Division. They will take notice and will be coming to remove you from their claim shortly. The other 2 mining companies are not yet aware of your arrival, but you can be sure they will learn of it soon enough. Okay then, so we need to get ready as soon as possible, so let's have a quick look-see at our starter vehicle. I honestly thought this was a fortress, obviously not. So we have ammunition barrels extremely exposed, we have these containers which we don't need since we are using centralized resource, we have a tiny little adorable radar, and we are currently going off engine power from not the most efficient engines in the world. Not the worst ones in the world, but not particularly good. We have a single battery there, we have electric engines. Okay, so the first thing I think I'm going to do is strip out the engine, strip out the fuel, and we are going to move completely over to steam power, at least for this vehicle. The second thing is I'm going to turn this into a hovercraft. The reason being, I want the experience of turning something into a hovercraft again, because I find that fun, and I prefer hovercraft to pretty much any other vehicle. What next then? So after we've done the steam engines, we can remove the regular engines and add just more battery power. We need guns, of course, so I think a minigun and possibly a missile volley, which I know is a total surprise for people who've been watching me for any length of time, although I am also tempted by a single strong cram cannon, possibly one of the prefabs we can just convert, since we don't have unlimited time. So, let's just get started, let's get this out of the water, and the first thing I'm going to do is actually completely remove these sides. I don't like them, they're really exposed, and it's using up a lot of our 3,000 block limit. Once we've converted this to at least be somewhat combat ready, I will go ahead and build a second vehicle, probably something small, probably another hovercraft, something more of an harasser vehicle. And goodbye to the sides. Thank you very much for playing. Although, I should have really done that manually block for block, because doing this doesn't give you back all the resources, because reasons. Or at least it sometimes does. There's weird rules with this. Next thing then, let's remove all of these refineries. Wow, yeah, this thing is really explosive right now, so definitely a good idea moving over to steam power. Okay, I'll leave the engines in for now because they are powering the Hearthstone. As soon as I've installed the steam stuff, then we can move over and add the batteries and some extra electric engines. Now, of course, what we could do is just convert the steam power directly into engine power, but I always prefer doing this. By doing this and adding the batteries, we have much more control over the flow of power. We can control how much is going where, and more importantly, it's a lot easier to protect. Having all of these stuff backed up on the steam engines themselves, so the steam engines are making the regular engine power in their own location, is great, but it also means if the steam engines take any damage, we've instantly lost all of our engine power. By storing it in a lot of excess battery power, even if all the steam engines go down, we have quite a while before all of our regular engine power goes bye-bye, because you need to destroy both all of the batteries and all of the steam engines, which is quite a lot to do. Oh, I feel bad deleting these. These look really nice. I love how the back section's been done here, but sadly we do have a volume limit, and I do want weapons, and I do want thrusters, because this thing is going to fly. Speaking of fly, we do not need these wheels if we are going to fly. There we go. We also do not need this lead if we're going to fly, because we don't need a keel. So let's remove you, let's remove the rudder and the two giant turbines. Not turbines, are they? What are they called? Propellers? Propellers, that's their name, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Ooh, ion thrusters. That's cool. But again, not really needed since we're going with full-on power. It seems like we have a very basic setup already for our AI. And actually, where is our AI currently located? Because I'm going to have to change it to land AI, which may seem a little bit weird, but I've always found that the land AI is a little bit easier to use when it comes to hovercraft. Not always, but generally it's what I find. And the one thing we need to do straight away is disable reverse and maximize the depth permitted. We don't care if we're on water. I also want to push these back way further so we start broadsiding essentially straight away. We could mess around with turning circle and stuff, but that can be later. Also, why is this so far at the front? Okay, change of plan. We're moving this AI straight away because I do not trust that to be there at all. We're going to armor up these batteries. So what we could do, since batteries are non-explosive, at least I believe they're non-explosive. Even if they are explosive, we're going to put them here. And that was the wrong thing, so once again, card slots, you go there. Let's put the land AI here. And for now, we'll just put some heavy armor on the side. Not great against EMP, obviously, but it will do. We'll add all the extra cards, which I've just removed, to the extended sections rather than the main AI block, and this will all be armoured as soon as I have the resources to do so. Okay, so we have a new form of power. We have way more engine power because of this. So next, let's go again into control, and I would like to see the general PID. There we are, the general purpose PID systems, and we want 3 of them. This will control roll, pitch, and, most importantly, altitude. Now, for altitude, I think staying at about 25 would be good. And I'm going to do the test stimulus, because I find that the easiest way of doing this. Leave everything by default for now, until we've tested things out. No. Even though not using it, go back. There we are. Okay. This is going to look really weird when it's flying. Okay, we've got it working. We're not actually holding it right now. This is how it's naturally staying. So the next part is sorting out turning. Now here is where the land AI starts to suffer. It does not use turning thrusters very well, especially when it's not currently on the ground using wheels. So what we're going to do is get around that by forcing these to work whenever it's trying to move its wheels. Of course, it has no wheels, so it constantly uses these instead. And how we do that is by using the magic of control blocks. There we are, let's put them in here, along with what I assume is the balloon deployer stuff. Okay, so we have found that, so we could have left them attached, but oh well. So you are going to be, for this lovely craft, to turn left, so we want that with G. You! Where are you? Control! Complex controller. Okay, so we want the control, complex controller, and G, so A, B, C, D, E, F, G, so 7. So essentially now, how we've set it up is that the affected is 7 activates whenever, and then of course we want it to be whenever the vehicle wants to move left. There we are. So whenever the vehicle wants to move left, this will send a signal to everything with the G complex controller to activate. So when the land AI is trying to turn its wheels left, it's going to actually activate the 2 left thrusters, or at least the front left thruster and the back right thruster, in order to cause the vehicle to veer towards the left. We're then going to do the same for the other side, except of course, whenever it wants to turn right, it will activate any of the thrusters I have marked for H. A little bit derpy because of how powerful these thrusters are and the fact it isn't going in a straight turn, but it does indeed work. And of course by straight turn I meant an extended turn, like doing a broadside or something. Just trying to go in a straight line with such powerful side thrusters equals this wobble. But we are going to make this heavier, so we will need more thrusters as time goes on. But it all does work, and that is fantastic. The side thrusters, however, I did have to swap the G's and the H's around because I kind of got the 2 mixed up. Either way though, it's working, so the next thing we want to do is add some armor. So I want shields, and I want flares, and I want just regular armor, because this light stuff will not last a second against any sort of real firepower. Okay, we're essentially now a flying metal box. The very centre of the craft has been armoured up with 3 layers of regular metal, which is both expensive and heavy, but also very, very good at blocking out a lot of things, such as explosive damage, which is very, very nice. The next thing we need to do is add shields, so that we are also resistant against things like armour penetration shots, which tend to move very, very fast, which makes them weak against shields. I can't see any enemies just yet, so I think we have enough time to set this up. Or maybe we should do weapons first. We could set up a very small set of missile silos here and here before adding the main gun to the top. This would give us at least a fighting chance against a very small enemy. I don't know how many enemies are going to attack us in the first wave. I'm hoping not many, but I really don't know. So let's just go with that then. Missile launcher can go there. Did I put that the wrong way around? Yes, I did. Try again. Fantastic. And you can go all the way along here. Now, I don't really know where I'm going to be putting the ammunition storage. It'll be somewhere. I just don't know where yet. Probably in the front, weirdly enough, because we don't really have much more space. either in the front or in a separate box off to the side or underneath. Either way, though, it has to have several layers of metal protecting it, both so it doesn't blow up straight away, and so if it does blow up, it doesn't destroy everything else in the center. We are a little bit badly positioned right now in terms of almost every single internal component. Okay, what we're going to do is we'll stick with short range. I'm going to change the delay on the thrusters, and then I'm going to add some ejector add-ons, so they get shot into the air, it takes a few seconds for them to activate, and then they come down like a hail of death, thus hitting the top of the enemy craft, not the side, which tends to be pretty good. We can do the same with variable thrusters, but that takes way more effort, which I don't really think we have right now. So, not variable thrusters, back to short range, thank you, although I do want the fins at the back, so fin, short range, fuel, fuel. And then let's go with fragment, because fragment are just better in general, and then we want the radar seeker instead. The fragment cone should be minimal. Okay, and the delay should be about 4 seconds. Probably not 4 seconds, maybe 3 or even 2 seconds, since I'm only going to be able to put in a single ejector right now. Wonderful. Copy this over as boom, like I always do, and you can be the exact same. Wonderful, although I do need to actually spread you to the other missiles, of course. That's the wrong one. Let's try that again, shall we? Never mind, I'm going insane. That was the right one. I was just misreading one of the components. Okay, so that's all set up. So, where will the ejectors go? I'm thinking just here, and then replace this with heavy armor. That would be the easiest way, otherwise we're cutting into the armor, which is currently defending the batteries. But I think maybe that would be better, just to make sure the missiles stay alive for the fight. Let's do that. Also, why is there no music? The music keeps on cutting out for some reason. It's very bizarre. Okay, all connected. Wonderful. The next thing we need is identify friend or foe, and we need a staggered fire. 1, 2, 3, 4 will do. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's the missile block? There it is. So destroy this, and this will become the local weapon controller, so that the missile can actually be used. And I want a receiver, which means we do need to put a transmitter on our AI, which is currently chilling over here. Hello. Okay, that should work. Let's just make sure they do correctly work. Yep, that is perfect, and if they had an enemy, they would then be turning rather than just going straight into the air. Once again, I can't see any enemies, so I think we are good in terms of our progress. So let's just armor this up once again, and I think the next step is shields. Therefore, we have shields and we have missiles. No, the next step is ammo. Ammo, then shields. Okay, it's not much ammo, but we now have ammo over here, because I've decided we didn't need quite as many batteries as we were currently using. So these lovely heavy armor sections are now housing all of our ammunition, the very small amount we actually have. So next, I think it's time for some shields. Now, shields are pretty easy, to be perfectly honest. It's just a matter of getting as much coverage as possible for as much power as you have to spare. So, what I would like to do first of all is just test out how much power we can use before the batteries start getting depleted. Because although we do have 3,600 engine power, that's not necessarily how fast we're feeding in. So, reflect, let's put this on maximum strength, and that's fine, as to be expected. Now increase the size of the thing. So now we're using 300, that's still stable. Now we're using 1,000, energy is still stable. Energy is going down as soon as we hit 2,000. Okay, so how about 1,600? So somewhere in between there, that's the maximum I can use for all of the shields, which is fine, because that is really overpriced, the stuff I was just using. So, once again, let's sort out everything. Where will these go? I think they should go on the inside, even though it is more expensive this way. Or I could put them here, and then give them a tiny bit of heavy armor on the outside, but that would make them vulnerable to a lot of stuff, so inside it is. We could just put them next to the weapons, since I do want to protect these anyway, and actually fill in these windows, so that seems reasonable to me. I'll be back in a second when I've added as many shields as possible to the entire craft. And of course we do want it to be bent like that. And strength 3 tends to be the minimum I use, so that seems fine. Let's make it huge. Like that. And copy and paste on the other side. Well, that should do for now. Strength 3 isn't overly powerful, but at the same time it should be strong enough to deflect most things, although if they are using fuses, the shields are pretty much useless. Well, not completely useless, at least the explosion is a bit further away from everything, but it will be mostly negated. This is mostly against very high velocity shells, which are naturally weak against shields. The next thing we need to defend against is missiles, although what I could do is start setting up a secondary weapon so that we can be a bit more aggressive. These missiles are not going to put out that much damage per second, although the initial volley will be absolutely deadly. So what do? More weapons or more defense? We don't have unlimited time. It's already been 25 minutes. Likely, the enemy will be attacking somewhat soon. Now, what I can say is that if these shields aren't enough, we can always strengthen how much energy we are producing by simply increasing the amount of material we burn in our boilers. Of course, this will require more material, which isn't something we really have excess of at the moment. So if we can avoid that, I will be very, very happy. So what next then? I am still struggling to decide between secondary weapon or flares, because we don't really have the resource or the time for both. I've decided we are going to go for a cram cannon as our secondary weapon because it's nice and easy to set up and we have a decent prefab of one. Now this prefab is of course one of the ones given to us at the very start of the game. This is Bertha and it's really not the best, but at the same time it is highly customizable and easy to change later on. So I think it's the best option to protect us now and provide us with some defense later as well. Adding some beams here, just because I've changed some of the stuff on the inside anyway, so the back section is now more vulnerable than it was at the start. Good enough for now, there we are, protected from the sides, and I've changed it so it has no armor penetration, but it has more explosive damage, and it also has a fuse, which means if it gets deflected, it simply detonates straight away, so even shields won't stop the shot. So now what we need to see is how much recoil this gun will give us. And fire! That's actually not too bad. And that is a very nasty shell. 15,000 explosive damage. Against smaller enemies, this will be brutal. Once we see the type of enemies we're fighting, we can customize it a little bit more, perhaps with penetration depth fuses. But for now, we're going with the safer option of just pure explosive brute force. So for those who are wondering why I'm so dead set on removing all of the alloy blocks, that's because if we look at the lightweight alloy, we can see it has a health of 140, an armor of 5, and a weight of 5. The regular metal, although far heavier, has essentially double the armor and double the health, and since we're currently using the thrusters on only about 10% of their maximum potential, we are absolutely fine to add some additional weight, and I would much rather have the extra weight than absolutely no protection like we do at the moment. Especially when it comes to armor penetration value. Having the higher armor value is very important very quickly. And that is that. Pretty much all of the armor has now been replaced with regular metal, at least all of the important stuff. So now, what I would like to do is add some more jet engines to the bottom and the top to add a bit of redundancy. At the moment, we really don't have that. If our thrusters are removed from pretty much anywhere, we instantly sink into the water, which isn't the worst thing since we do have air pumps on the inside so we can float, but it will drastically reduce our ability to dodge the enemy. In fact, it will completely remove our ability to dodge the enemy. So let's start adding some extra stuff, and then this area will also become important, which means it also needs to be replaced with regular metal. I think what I'm going to do to this craft to finish it off is make it look quite orky, and by that I mean orcs from the Warhammer 40k universe. Everything is going to be looted and repainted with a load of spikes absolutely everywhere, because even now, it already looks like a floating bus of death. And I am oddly proud of that. So two things, I've increased the size of our missiles by 1 to add an extra warhead, but also the last couple of clips were weirdly recorded in the wrong resolution. I fixed that now, but I do apologise if there were black bars all around the screen, because honestly, stretching the screen tends to look far worse. But at least now there's some reasoning for it. And I've also added repair bots everywhere, so I think right now this is pretty much ready for its first fight. It's certainly not the most powerful creation in the world, but hopefully it will deal with a few very easy enemies. At last, here it begins. The enemy are here. We have the Mortar, the Bomber, the Brawler, and the Sam. Okay. Let's get this started then. We want to be quite far away from the enemy, and actually, we don't really have any negative to being around this terrain. This terrain is definitely underneath us, and may block a couple of shots, so we should be, like, here. I'm thinking here because we will dip a little bit at the start because of how our thrusters are currently set up, because I didn't have enough time to completely balance them. Also, I've called the vehicle the Doombus. I couldn't help it. Let's just begin. I believe in you, Doombus. Okay, missiles are working perfectly. They are going to hit the top of whatever they're going after. We are going towards them, as we should. Now starting the broadside. Okay, first enemy. So what are you at the front? Can I please stop going upwards? Come on, map. Map, obey me. Do the thing I want you to do. Well, I can't even see, but I'm assuming this is the Mortar. Something to do with the cram cannon. Oh, look, it's like a little stingray. Or a manta. That's really cool. Oh, I remember you. You've been around for ages. Oh, boy, we should have added flares. Please kill this guy next. Now, these missiles are very powerful, but we can't keep on firing them. So if they all hit, and here comes the cram cannon, just missing. Okay, his cram cannons missed as well, and we've done a lot of damage to the back section, so he can't seem to aim at us anymore. But there goes our initial volley, so now our missiles will be firing far, far slower. That's it, keep on changing. Directory! Oh, direct cram cannon to the face, but we are still continuing. Missiles incoming as well. Our cram cannon, that's actually landing a nice hit. Several of the enemy missiles missing there, which is very, very nice indeed. We are way too close to the enemy. Our AI needs to be changed desperately. The enemy bomber is now online and really, really high up. Is that intentional? Oh, I'm so glad we've added so much armor. We are so heavily armored, it's actually a little bit ridiculous. Just don't crash into the water and we'll be fine. Our fire rate has now been massively decreased as we are out of ammo, and our ammo regen is very slow. Oh, stop hitting the back. Actually, no, keep on hitting the back. That's my most heavily armored section. That's fine. We're doing pretty well. The enemy firepower seems to be very low. Why am I so inaccurate? Oh, because I haven't added half of the detection stuff yet. I'm just relying on the basic stuff. We're actually better at aiming things directly in front of us. Yes, that was lovely. Not enough damage though to kill it. Oh no, not at the front. Not at the front. Please stop hitting me in the front. That's the back. No, the back is fine. The back is absolutely fine. It has 5 layers of armor, and we have a lot of repair bots. Missiles are not naturally that powerful. This enemy seems quite weak as well, so we're okay against that. The enemy bomber seems to be doing nothing. I can't even see where it's gone. We're doing fine. We need more ammo, though. We're doing fine. Oh, thank you for missing. Thank you. Oh, Lord. Bad, 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 bad. Whoa, that stripped like 3 or 4 layers of armor. Thankfully, there was an explosion on board the enemy ship. All we need to do is hit its ammo store. Just once. There goes one of our storages. Okay, we're looking a little bit worse now. You are doing really well, little missile enemy. Is that the Brawler, or is that... No, it's the Sammy. Okay, yeah, it is. I'm so glad we're so heavily armored. And once again, the cram cannon doing a lot of damage, but not enough. We just need more ammo. We could have won this so easily. Shields looking bad. We've lost one of our steam engines. Shields are going down. We just hit another time with the cram cannon, but that didn't do quite enough. We're not losing the first battle. We have no more resources, though, so I can't repair anymore. Thank you! Finally! Goodbye! Whatever I just detonated was obviously important. Uh-oh. Did you knock out my pitch? Okay, that guy's gone. The brawler's not really doing all that much. Come on, hit! No! Why are you so high up? Did I hurt you at the start and mess you up or something? Okay, enemy Sam is down. We just hit the flyer with one of our missiles, which are not all that powerful. It's that initial volley that makes it so powerful. Maybe more cram cannons. They're so reliable. And yes, that's what I wanted to see. Admittedly, you hit the front section. Oh, that's similar to the old river home. The old river home from the Deepwater Guard had that kind of style. Oh, I really like that. That's one turret. I will copy that at some stage. Our upgraded Bertha is pretty darn good. The Doombus will survive, I swear it. Also, having the missiles come down on the opponent seemed to do really well at the start, so I'm so happy we went with that option. It's going to take forever to kill this flyer, by the way, because hitting it is very difficult with such non-agile missiles. I think it's safe to say we've won. The flyer is downed for whatever reason, and this guy... I don't really know what happens to the brawler. I'm just so happy I had so much armor. Still so much shredded from us, though. Like I say, the back has 5 layers, the side has 3 layers, and 4 layers around the engines. The front has 2 layers, making it the weakest. The top has 2 layers as well, so anything coming down from the top is also pretty darn bad. Oh, of course, we haven't lost our steam engines, we just have no resource to burn. Which means eventually we are going to just sink. But that's fine, we'll float, and the missiles will help us win. Maybe I should capture this guy. I mean, come on, look at him, he's downed over there. I think it's safe to say that it would be fair to capture this guy. Never mind, he's already too damaged. The battle is finished. Okay, the enemy flyer must have crash-landed into the water whilst I was ensuring that we actually stay afloat rather than sink. And our first battle is won. So let's very quickly get back to the resource zone, collect resources, and repair our vehicle. Although we did end that on quite a high percentage, I did lose all of my backup resources in that fight, and as such, we need to prepare better next time. Here we are then, back in the resource zone, repairing nice and quickly, ready for the next battle. That went a lot better than expected. A few weaknesses were very clearly shown, which I will be trying to fix before we build our next vehicle. The initial damage from the missiles is glorious, and although it's not the most accurate weapon in the world, even the cram cannon is definitely worth its weight. Although I do need to perhaps improve the different rangefinders and all of the different detectors so that we can more accurately fire at things which are moving. But even with that, it definitely got the job done. So thank you so much for watching. In the next video, we'll probably build a new vehicle and upgrade this one. We'll make the shields invisible so it looks a bit better, and we will determine a paint scheme for this Let's Play. So if you have enjoyed the video, then of course likes, favourites, shares, comments, all that good stuff helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that From the Depths is a series you would like to see continued in the future. It's good to be back, and it's good to be using missiles once again. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Long live the Doombus!